Greetings, everybody, and welcome to the Dracovin Empire. Are you ready to dive back into the world of darkness and learn about another Kith of Changeling The Dreaming? I hope you are. So grab my hand here. I, your host and guide, Candace Dracovin, I'm going to lead you through the gauntlet, through the traveling. We're going to travel through the dreaming and arrive once again in the world of darkness. A world much like our own, yet magical. Please, of course, give a tip or a little help to your host and guide here, liking, subscribing, ringing the bell, as we dive into the world of darkness. We've shifted. Can you feel the dreams, the glamour all around us? We've arrived. It's time for us to learn about a cousin, the Eshu today. The Oba, or Auba. I should say them right. Auba. And it's the, Eshu. So, now, if I were to get some further research and learn about these Auba, what would I learn about these cousins to Eshu? Well, the Eshu book is a great one, and of course Changeling, 20th anniversary. Both of these do provide information about the Auba, the nobles that are cousins of the Eshu. Well, who are they? Where do they come from? Well, they're nobles of El Gabara, and they are landbound cousins to the Eshu. Basically, El Gabara is the common parlance for the name of the Oshira, which is a god, demigod, ancestor. El Gaba Eshu, the powerful knife. Basically, it's the direct descendants of Eshu, kind of the nobles of Eshu. Think of it that way, almost. Basically, of all the descendants of the progenitor of the Eshu and the lines, the Oba are one of them, and they are the noble group of them. Basically, they're all descended from a similar source. They've split up, and that's where we talk about it, with their history. In the beginning, there was Olirant, owner of the sky, who looked down from his palace, saw emptiness of the world, with not only sky, the void, and water. He sent his younger son, Obatala, the maker, to fashion the world and fill it with creatures. He had an older son, Oramila, the diviner, fashioned so it ran smoothly, and that those that practiced the magic of the future could glimpse its functioning. When that was done, Olirant sent Eshu, a linguist and messenger, to go down and start collecting sacrifices for him in return for making everything possible. Eshu had the authority over roads and gateways, and was only too glad to do so. He also loved to cause mischief to those that didn't give him proper respect. Not good or evil, playing tricks because it was his way. The good learn, the wicked suffer. As Eshu traveled, he sired children, part of his way, and they were only partly divine. They did share his father's laughter and view of the world, as well as some of his power. They took to the roads after his father because they were also relentless souls, bringing a chance of an adventure as they went. Some wanted to be like Eshu, others they taught and punished and explored. They were first of the Oja, followers of life, daylight, destiny. They would be comparison to Sealy. Others were mad at their father for leaving them, so they stole, told lies, played tricks. They were the Iku, followers of death, darkness, and randomness, the Unseelie. There were so many children that people began to think of them as Eshu himself and started worshipping them instead of Eshu. Eshu was angry that his name had been stolen, so he came to the world to investigate. When he saw what his children were doing, though, he laughed and forgot his wrath. His children had learned their lessons well, and if humans had tricked themselves, well, that was their problem. But he had a bunch of children in some way who had stolen his name, wickedly or not. If he didn't, why, then would the names of creation be stolen and everything would return to emptiness? We told this story a little bit for the Eshu that we did in the series too. It does split up on that point. He thought what punishment to do. One group of them, though, fearing it, fled into hiding, preying on the weak to keep themselves alive. These cowards became confused, I think. They didn't hear a word of Eshu. What Eshu did tell his children, a great and powerful secret. A forbidden lore the tribe was entrusted to keep. From that day forward, they became the El Gabara, the chosen children of El Gaba Eshu, the powerful knife, keepers of his sacred places, his message to the worlds. He condemned them to follow his footsteps, wandering roads, learning secrets, testing what they came across. He blessed them and kissed each one to seal his magic in them, and then flew to Skylab. A few of the Elgabara stayed together to speak of matters that concerned them all. Most scattered. There was too much to see, and the rest think things to do. They sought the edge of the world, and, traveled out. The few who stayed became rulers of their lands, bonding with them, learning their secrets, and tending to sacred places. The guardians remained, watching over the tribe, keeping the hearth fires burning. They remain the true, pure blood of Eshu, and have sacrificed freedom of the trails to preserve the heritage of Eshu. They are the Oba. So basically, the Oba kept in one spot, they connected with the lands. So again, that's why they've split in their descendants. They from their stories, they come from this similar spot, and the rest of the Eshu went out into the world. Began to travel, began to follow in their predecessors' footsteps, while the Oba stayed behind to keep the secrets, to keep the land. That's kind of the differences and connections that we have between them. Interestingly enough. Over the last millennium, every once in a while, a non-Eshu visitor to the Eshu ancestral lines find themselves in the court of the mighty Caliph, or matriarch, with astounding beauty and words of power and authority. They seem like Eshu, but are different. Plus, the normally defiant Eshu treat them with great deference, close to servitude. Out of their presence, the Elgabara were themselves again, and refused to speak about the encounter, mumbling about something about the rising sun giving hope of visiting such directions. The lack of understanding is part of this tribe's purpose. There are no fools. They have advantage they hang on to as long as they can. The Oba are just too rare and too important to make their presence public, especially to their enemies. At least they be targets for destruction. They're the heart of this tribe of people. Last pure descendant bloodline of the powerful knight himself. They hold on the tribe's most sacred responsibilities, guarding the lands that they can still call home and keeping the Elgabara from drifting apart by being leaders and spiritual guides. Concordian Eshu may never meet one of his or her life, or even learn they exist, but they all feel the presence in their heart when one dies, and the whole tribe knows. Even the Iku recognize them. For in some ways, as rulers of the kind, they alone should tell the skeptical how they important they are. So both sides, both Ojo and Iku, respect them. They don't have a Thalian version of them because they are so few in numbers. Young Oba are nearly indistinguishable from regular Eshu. Only their eyes tell the difference, flecked with gold for those born Ojo, and silver with those born Iku. Most are born into noble families and raised towards the thrones that they will assume, learning courtly arts of war, politics, leadership. An increasing number are born of less fortunate circumstances. They must endure years of depravity, dodging banality, until their true nature shines through. They are legendary hell-raisers as childlings and wilders, sharing the Eshu love of adventure and dares, but as they age, they feel calling to return to the lands of their ancestors, and engulf the rights of rulership, secret rights, to emerge to the full birthright as leaders and spiritual guides. Again, cousins, like an offshoot and connected to the Eshu. Their organization is very loose, at best. There are only about 3 dozen of them with titles, for one thing, and the majority of their time is taken up with overseeing daily needs of their lands, both mundane and chimerical. The laws they enforce depend on whether they are Ojo or Iku, but all are widely respected for their wisdom, fairness, hospitality. They gladly take in fellow Elgabara if need help, provided you don't mind doing a little housework. Twice a year they gather in a council secretly to discuss matters of importance to the tribe as a whole. This meeting lasts up to 2 weeks, depending on how much can be discussed and how long it takes to debate. When it's done, a simple vote decides a course of action, or words of wisdom they wish to pass to the Elgabara and trusted runners who dispatch and spread the word over the world. They are careful to wrap these commands in stories, lore, so that eavesdroppers are unaware of what's being said. The Eshu instinctively recognize that they are hearing is important, though they may not know they might not know what if they are aware of the Oba. So they might not recognize that it's words from the Oba, but they will recognize that it's important and this is something that they should listen to. And the rest of the Eshu are not obligated to heed the words, but even the most rebellious Iku will give them some good thought. They have the ancestral trust of the tribe, and speaking their opinion carries a lot of weight. So it's important to see that this subset of the Eshu has a lot of importance, and they are unique in a lot of ways. They are connected to the Eshu, very much so, but they are still technically different. So, until they take the mantle of leadership, they look like the Eshu cousins. Tall, slender, grateful, pointed ears, and chanting voices. After their ritual, their features sharpen to perfection, making them almost painful to behold in their feyas. Their eyes, once merely speckled with gold and silver, become softly shining orbs, like suns or moons. This radiance changes with moods, growing brighter when angry and excited, dimming to a contented glow and happier peace. There are those that dress lavishly, adorning themselves with wealth, but the majority actually prefer to wear common dress of the land, with a few small changes to show their station. They will dress just like anybody else around them. You just will be able to notice things about them, little things about their dress, the way that they hold their posture, that shows off their noble lineage. And due to the purity of this bloodline, because they have kept in their regions, all of them are pure African, Indian, and Middle Eastern stock. They are from the ancestral lands of the Eshu, and they really haven't traveled outside. We'll talk about that a little bit for a second here, but you will understand a lot more why this is. So, they are considered noble Kith, just like the Sidhe. Even those without title require the Fey realm of lofty nobles to affect them with cantrips. So, yes, they, like the Sidhe, are a noble Fey, a noble Kith. They get the tailcraft and spirit pathways that are birthrights of the Eshu, so they share those. But they have the mantle of Oshiras, which is identical to the Sidhe birthright, all in beauty. They also bond with lands. It is important to note, basically, only Oba who have a lawfully claimed a title or preserve a territory are recognized by their fellows to have received the birthright of Mantle of Oshiras. They cannot bond with lands outside of Africa, India, or the Middle East. There have been attempts to claim lands elsewhere, all of them have failed. And in one interest, it resulted in death of the Oba, as the earth they were trying to bond with rebelled against them and swallowed them whole. It's for that reason that the Oba rarely, if ever, are outside their own lands except in extreme circumstances. We'll talk about it in a second. Their frailties, they have reckless, which is just like Eshu, but they also have native soil. They are tied to the lands they love. Once a title is assumed, they are bonded to that land and cannot leave it or its mere dreaming counterpart for long. If they do, they become sickly, and eventually waste to nothing. It does not include traveling to the far or deep dreaming, though they still loathe to leave their lands for long and don't do so unless it's truly great need. They may only leave their lands for up to one cycle of the moon before they start to lose health, basically, at a rate of death. So they have a little bit of time. They could travel the world, especially now modern days, but they're going to want to go back home. So, honestly speaking, if you are doing an adventure in a setting of Africa, India, or the Middle East, you could have someone that's an Oba, that's part of the group, that's maybe not a titled Oba, but still would want to come home after 20 days if you have to travel the world as part of that adventure. Just saying. But outside their lands, they receive a +1 difficulty to all rolls because of pain and distraction. It's unpleasant. So, again, they are a very unique group that, honestly speaking, you're probably not going to play a very lot. They are very similar to the Eshu, because they're cousins to them. But they are technically a unique group within them. It's that kind of thing that, though they are rare, low in numbers, and very much so connected with another Kith, they are their own thing. And yes, the majority of people are not going to know them anything different than another Eshu. Their existence is very much a secret in a lot of ways. And probably there are those that may earn the trust enough to know about them, but it's that kind of thing is probably still very rare. This makes them very interesting characters, but a very rare one to even play. or consider playing, because again, outside the regions they call home, they're probably not going to be dealing with a lot there too. Now granted, if you haven't gained a title as a Oba, you might be okay to do some traveling. Because remember, once a title's assumed, and they are bonded to their land, they can't leave. So if you are pre-bond Oba, maybe in that childing, wilder kind of state before you settle down, then maybe, yeah, you could be part of an adventure. Maybe your allies would just give you another shoe. Just interesting gold or silver flecks in your eyes. That's kind of weird. And your secrets will never be revealed to them. So there's opportunities for adventure here, and I think that's what makes them very interesting and a very fun group to talk about. Because they are so deeply connected with another group, being just cousins of them and basically a noble group of them, but still unique in their own ways, which I think makes them interesting. But I hope you enjoyed joining me today. I did like my journey into the world of darkness today with the Oba. It's one of those things that, reading up on them, I'm like, you may be able to put them with the Eshu, but I think they are different enough as, like, offshoots, cousins, that make, well, the Eshu are technically, I guess, what you'd call the offshoot, but they are a lot more common, there's a lot more of them, they have actual numbers. It's sort of like, this is the rare, pure bloodline that remains, and the rest of them are this offshoot that we've already learned about because they're the ones everybody knows. It's an interesting circumstance to be in, where it's sort of like, well, you know, we're connected with you, we are where you come from, but you guys have gone off and become something just a little bit different. We're still connected together, we're still related, we're still close to each other, but we are different now. We changed. You know, we still come from the same blood, though, too, descended from the same roots. There's a lot of interesting connections. If you want to check out more of my stuff, more of my tabletop stuff, make sure to check out my schedule. I post on my social media, my Discord, my Blue Sky, my Twitter/X, and I do throw that over my YouTube in the information discussion page. That tells you when I'm going live to stream stuff on Twitch, which includes all my tabletop and gaming stuff, and when I upload stuff to YouTube. That just gives you an idea of what's going on in the week. So I make sure to check out those social medias to look into them. Go check out my old live plays. I do have one World of Darkness game. I'll do more in the future. I do have some also D&D, Pathfinder. I'll be doing some more, planning on Pathfinder 2nd Edition at the time of this video. Make sure to check those out. Discussing Tabletop Saturdays at 6. All EST times, may I note. We talk about news of the week, deeper discussions on things in the tabletop world. I think it's everything. And again, remember to do that stuff over on YouTube. Like, subscribe, and bell if you're over there. And my question for today is, would you play an Oba? And what direction would you take it in? Like, I'm guessing if you are taking it in a direction where you're having an adventure in the region, a title, one who's taken up the mantle of Osiris, could be possible. But certainly speaking, I mean, one that's pre-that. It's an interesting situation to be at because no one will really know what she will do. It's like an extra secret. And whether you tell it or not. I don't know. I can see some interesting stories for a character. What do other people think? Or have anybody else there actually had a chance to play one? Let me know. Anyway, I'm going to get going. We'll talk to Twitch some more, maybe do another video. Regardless, until the next time we come hang out, talk about World of Darkness, tabletop, dive into Changeling once again, I bid all of you out there a very deep and a very wonderful farewell.